There's the shame and the self-hatred, which procrastination breeds,
Yes.
right?
How'd you know that?
I've heard. I've never been there myself, but I've heard people talk about these things. I personally cannot relate.
You have an important project waiting for you to work on it, but instead your house is sparkling clean, or your nose is buried in menial busy work. On today's episode of That's a Great Point, we're talking about one of my favorite words, productination. Productination. Staying busy with unimportant work as a way to feel productive while avoiding difficult or scary tasks. It's the husband who stays out in the shop or the garage finding one more project to work on instead of having that difficult conversation with his wife. It's the hard worker who stacks up overtime at work as a way to avoid going home. It's the business owner who continuously works on their website instead of going out into the real world and shaking hands with people. Stay tuned. We're going to give you some tools to deal with productination, and it's not your typical just do it style mindset you find other places. As always, if you find our content helpful, please share it with somebody you love. Thanks for playing along. Enjoy. Welcome to That's a Great Point, the attitude adjustment for your soul, where co-hosts Alina Doran, Michelle Albers, and Lee Smart discuss deep topics around a life well lived. Let's start the show.
Now you are.
You know what that means? It means I have to do it again. Dun, 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 dun.
You never need excuses.
No, we would have had your sound file
to do it again. Yeah, you can. I think
Dramatic
that's our
entry
intro.
music part 2.
Part
deux.
Lee, I think that's
Speaking
our
of-
intro. That is it.
Oh, what's that?
That should be our intro moving forward.
Oh, yeah, we do need an update, don't we?
Like our intro.
Oh, shoot. I'm going to do something that feels productive that actually isn't productive.
Yeah.
Redo something that's perfectly fine. Reinvent the wheel.
There you go.
No, of course. There's always something that needs tending. That's a great excuse.
That's a great excuse. I love that. That's like the husband who needs to have a difficult conversation with his wife, but instead finds something really important out in the shop to do.
It's like the working mother who delays going home, so she does like one more report and one more check in the office, so she doesn't have to face whatever's happening at home. Yeah. I feel like we're starting our own version, like a procrastination version of Alanis Morissette's Isn't It Ironic? Where she has all the metaphors, right?
Yeah, you'll have to remind me of that one. I know it's back there, but it's not coming.
Isn't it ironic? Don't you think? Oh, I really think.
I avoided Alanis Morissette like the plague.
What made you want to avoid
We
her?
were busy productinating.
Right.
Oh, I swear it's one of my favorite words, productination. It was given to me by a DTK. The first time he said it, I was like, oh my God, that is so... It's like whenever a comedian speaks and they say something that's so obvious but so true, you're just like, oh, yeah.
It's perfect. It's so perfect. It's like hangry. Right? It's a perfect hybrid of the two words that explain exactly what it is. I love it.
It's funny you say that. I fasted yesterday.
Were you hangry this morning?
I'm not.
Not at all. I don't know what you're talking about.
Leave me alone. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Why ask so many questions?
Let's get to it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get to it.
I'm thinking about how, a lot of times there's a difficult task that you need to do or want to do, but to move you forward, but are scared of it. And instead of doing it, the house is sparkling clean.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. It's the checklist. People hide behind checklists all the time.
Hmm.
So you have a nice long checklist with little bullet points. And doesn't it feel great to check things off?
Hmm.
But are the things that you're checking actually things that matter or things that placate, make you feel good?
Hmm.
Yeah. What's
Well,
something that you've been productinating on?
I usually procrastinate on stuff that I find boring and uninteresting in favor of stuff that is more engaging. Like recently, I just released my second music video yesterday. I've been doing that instead of working on, articles to promote the business or marketing to promote the business. I've been doing music videos instead. So that's a perfect form of productination. And God, those music videos felt good to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just given this word a couple of weeks ago. It's actually an acronym, STERPS, Short Term Emotional Relief Protocol. So it's things that make us feel good in the moment, but we're avoiding that long term. So then in the long term, whenever it finally gets here, it's going to hurt way worse than right now.
Mm-hmm. It's important, but I know when when you overstay your welcome, you overstay the time that it's useful and helpful, and now you're in it for some other reasons, right? No, it's like,
Yeah, I'm not following you. Keep going.
oh, like you need to clean, right? Clean. We want clean homes. I'm going under
Uh-huh.
the assumption we like clean homes. Cleaning's important,
Uh-huh.
sure. So there's the putting off, and then there's the how long are you spending in it, and then there's the putting off, and then there's the deflection. So
Uh-huh.
there's a point in time that we're doing something that's genuinely useful, and then the utility runs out, and we've now switched into the mode of we're just here so we don't have to be over there.
Uh-huh. Or it's like, look at me, look how productive I'm being. Look how special I am. I'm being productive. Yeah. Huh? Don't you appreciate how productive I am?
That's the martyrdom. But yes, that's another good one. And I'm thinking of in the example of cleaning. So you're cleaning, you're like, great. I did laundry, I need to fold it. That's important. Then all the other things you've got to do that are needle movers. But then you've got the laundry and you just finished the key thing you needed to do. Then you look over at the shelves and you say, but they're really messy. I should really take out the clothes out of the shelves and refold so it looks neater. And there is utility in that too, right? And then, well, maybe I should go through the sock drawer and throw out socks that I don't wear. Also, a seemingly very useful exercise, right? Purging in and of itself is important, right? Pruning,
Hmm. I
great.
might want to suggest therapy for you. Because that's some crazy shit.
Crazy, crazy. Like, yeah, you like your socks without holes and matching. Wackadoo. Just some wackadoo stuff, you know. Like when you go a little too far, when you take it further than you need to, and you've spent too long, whatever it is, like house decor, right? I'll get making decisions on what kind of frames to hang. There's a point when a decision is helpful to make or pause and move on to the next thing. And that's a point, when our body sends us signals, maybe our mind sends us signals too, of when we've stepped into that territory. What do you think, Michelle?
I'm just reflecting as you guys are talking about kind of how I tick within this.
How
Like
do you
if I
tick?
if I have a list and I prioritize my list, but I feel like I need to feel like I accomplished something because like the things at the top of the list are going to take too long. I'll go all the way to the bottom of that damn list and do all the easy shit first, just so I can tick 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 and feel
Sure.
good about it.
Hmm.
And then at the end of the day, I don't actually feel good about it. It's like, well, now I just pushed off the thing that like has a deadline. fine. What'd I do that for? That was dumb, you know? And it's like, and then it does that. I go into that like self, like not very nice talk to myself. And so I'm just realizing over time, I'm being mindful about my discernment around my choices, right? Because if I tick off all the stuff at the bottom and that actually does clear some space in my mind so I can just get it out of the way and it's actually a good thing for me, then it's not productination. It's actually like I'm clearing space to drop in and ground and get ready to go. And then when I go, I don't have all the extra clutter. So like sometimes it's actually a good thing. But when it's not, it's really not.
Right.
You know, like even when you described your videos, Lee, I'm like, yeah, was it productination though? Or was that just like good for your soul and you needed it because it's been heavy for a hot second? I'm not claiming that for you. I'm just asking.
Both. It's
Right.
absolutely both.
Yeah.
So it's like this, there's this constant weighing between short term and long term. Constant. It's like, what do I want to do to make me feel good in the moment? And what do I want to make sure that I do so I don't fuck my future self? Like, how am I, if I'm productinating, a lot of times that's just making it way harder on my future self. So it's trying to weigh that because I want to show a little love to my future self and say, hey, look, I'm going to try and make things a little bit easier on you. And that's going to take me doing some difficult work now. But one of the key ways is this shows up, I notice very often, is it shows up in relationships. And that, hey, look, I'm going to go do something really highly productive instead of spending quality time or instead of having those difficult conversations. Or it's even like, I'm going to go spend some time with the kids. Don't you love me for that? But in the meantime, the spouse is thinking, you haven't spent any quality time with me in months or years. So there's a lot there that going on in my brain. What thread do y'all want to pull on?
You were talking about future and present self.
Mm-hmm.
Made me think of, what do you really want? To present day self, what do you actually want? What matters to you most? And connecting to that. So what I'll do, because my lists are hundreds and hundreds of items long, I hired somebody last year to help me with my to-do list, and that person was overwhelmed with my list. That was not their list. What I'll do is I'll take out a Post-it in the morning and put my, like, a couple things that have got to get done that I know are the aligned important things that matter to me. They line up to what I want in my life. As far as, who I am today, what I want long term and what matters most. And so I'll jot down a couple items. There are hundreds and hundreds, and I know that. And there's so many things that I can work on in the meantime. And I walk. Sometimes that means putting up with the discomfort of walking past a sink full of dishes. I sometimes have to deprioritize the dishes. It doesn't feel good. But then there's a release that I sometimes have to make because there's a choice. And that choice, there's that little time that's the choice that I need to make. And so dealing with the mess later so that I don't have a long-term mess, right? And dissatisfaction, like I think what all three of us are talking about, of I didn't really do the things that matter. I did the things that are here and I see low-hanging fruit, right? And there's no shame in low-hanging fruit. Sometimes there's a time for it, right? Like it clears mental clutter, right? It clears your space. It helps you be more creative, but and if you don't know, you need to learn to know the signals in you. Like when is that feeling of that yucky feeling of like, that it's not right. It's not aligned. When I say not right, I mean not aligned. So yeah, Post-it, quick Post-it. I have like 4 items on it today, and that's what's getting done. And if there's room for something else, great.
Thinking about Stephen Covey's 4 quadrants from his book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. The 2 bottom quadrants is unimportant, unurgent. That's like Netflix watching, right? Then you've got unimportant and urgent. That's usually somebody else's problems. But really, what we're talking about is the important and urgent, and the important and not urgent. Important and urgent is right now. That's that short term we were talking about. But important and not urgent is the long term. It's not important right now, but it will be important in the future if we want to create the future that we want to live into. So the more time we can spend in important and not urgent, the more likely we are to create the future that we want to see for ourselves. Stop talking so much.
I feel like I'm in a different lane.
Yeah.
When you asked where we wanted to go or whatever, the present and the future, I like that. And where I go is I'm very much an observer right now. I want to know why. Why am I avoiding it? What's really there? Because I'm doing a lot of inner child work. And so that's sort of like just where my mindset is at right now. It's like, okay, I'm productinating. What's this about? What's it really about? Like, am I avoiding the big thing because I know it's going to take me somewhere good that's going to lead to success, and then I'm afraid of that, or am I afraid of failing that thing, or like, and that's just an example, but I don't know. I want to know. I want to know what's really there that's stopping me or freezing me or having me in full blown avoidance and doing a bunch of shit I don't need to do. It's like what's here for me? Why am I not looking at this? Why am I just because if I keep doing it, it's just like a slow bleed out. That's kind of how I see it. It's like, oh my God, I'm just band-aiding over and over again, and the band-aids eventually aren't big enough.
You talk about the littles. The first thing that popped in my head as he started to talk was my 20-year-old macho jerk voice was,
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't matter why. Just suck it up and do it.
Yeah.
And how unhelpful that has been to me over the years.
Yeah, it creates a whole story.
Mm-hmm.
And it perpetuates it. And that's the thing that I'm like really looking at these days within myself, because I had some really just deep beliefs and truths, but they're untruths. They were not true. They might have been at one time in my life, but they're not anymore. And it's fascinating. And all the post-its in the world aren't going to save me from that unless I really look at it. I
Yep.
mean, they can keep me on track to do a thing, but even if I'm doing the things without that deeper knowing or that those inner choices that matter in the present and take me to a future that actually is enjoyable and exciting, not every moment, but I don't know.
Yeah, they had a lot. Have a lot of different names for what you're talking about, depending on what particular field of study you want to go in. You have the saboteur, the shadow, or if you go into Christianity, it'd be the devil in you, or whatever the hell you want to call it. I hate the devil shit because I have a hard time believing we have something evil in us. I think there's a misguided helper. That's the way I like to look at it. My favorite way to look at it is through internal family systems, and that we have a piece of us that's trying to protect us, that was born of something that happened whenever we were younger, could even be genetic, right? And it's trying to protect us. And to try and bury that piece of us that's trying to protect us makes it hold on and grab on harder. And then we end up procrastinating even more whenever it's just that I'm going to shove that piece of myself down. Whenever we get to know that piece and understand what its needs are and have those needs met, then it allows it to relax and it lets go of control. It allows your higher self to take control and do what it is that needs to be done for the higher goals.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we get so focused on what that part of us needs that we forget what current day part of us needs.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you're looking at one, why do we never look at both? I shouldn't say why do we never, because that's probably not true. Some people do, but like often I find it's not that uncommon to be like, well, I'm hyper focused on what was and why I'm showing up because of what was, instead of like, but I'm a different me today. I mean, I'm the same me, but I've evolved. So like, what does that me need? And how do you look at both and then honor both? Because usually it's different needs.
You mean the old versus the present self?
I mean, yeah, and I'm specifically talking about the you that was created because of like survival mode, for example. like that part of me needed very different things than me today. But if they both have these needs and they conflict, if they're conflicting, like how do we navigate that?
Well,
I
how do
mean,
we know that there's a navigation even needed?
yeah, I mean, but I guess for me, when that awareness comes in, I gotta honor it in some way, even if it's just simply taking a moment to pause and think about it. I don't have to. I want to.
Right.
Yeah, that was a great point, Alina. How do we know when we have conflicting needs? Because that's tough. That
Right.
requires emotional education. We have to be really in tune with what our needs are, what's going on inside of us.
Very much so. Very much so. And I'm thinking about the different triggers for procrastination, right? Which is often labeled as laziness,
Hmm.
which once in a while it is. And oftentimes it's not, right? So I think about, we've talked about delaying, deflecting. Why do we delay? Why do we deflect? Sometimes we're confused. We genuinely don't know the right next helpful thing to do.
Hmm.
Sometimes we're overwhelmed. I experience that overwhelm when there's a freeze that I sometimes go into and then work my way out of, because the list of everything that needs to be done is so big, it's so heavy that sometimes I'll pause and I'm not moving. I'm just sitting here under the weight of it until I work my way out of it. So there's overwhelm, fear of failure, right? Perfectionism. What if I actually try and it doesn't work out?
Hmm.
What if I actually put myself into it and find out that I am not what I thought I was? So I might as well not really try, because then I won't fail,
See, that's a tricky one
right?
because to pick up something new means
That's a
that
tricky
we
one.
will suck at. Oh, but we had some damn freeze go on. Yeah, I was talking about the perfectionism and how
And
tricky that is, and
perfectionism.
that whenever we pick up something new, we will inevitably suck at it until we get the repetition enough to be good at it. So that's a
Sure.
really tough one. It's like I'm
Sure.
gonna try a little bit. Oh no, I just suck at that. Oh,
Right. Right. It's like I think Renee Brown talked about the first shitty draft
hmm,
of, like, you write something and you like get it out of the way. Do that first shitty thing, right? Like,
hmm,
get the imperfection out, right? Get that launch, that first episode, whatever that first is, it's not going to be as good as the second and the third. So go get started.
yeah. I love how often the voice comes up when I'm coaching clients. It's the "What will they think of me?" voice.
Sure. Sure. Always. That's the shame, right? Always the shame coming in, little gremlins.
Hmm.
And most of the time people aren't thinking about you, they're thinking of themselves. And they're wondering the same thing you're wondering. What will they think of me? So everyone's walking around, what will they think of me? And the answer is usually, they won't.
Yeah. Or if they are, it's because they are looking for some way to justify how much they hate themselves.
Yeah,
I hate me, so I'm going to point out how awful somebody else is to make myself feel better.
sure. Right. I don't like myself and I critique it. I'm harsh and I use harsh language toward me. So I'm going to do that toward you.
Mm.
And that's how you get to know how I feel about myself. Like I've told my kids that I've told my kids that for many years. When a person's being cruel and calling you names and harsh, feel for them. They don't like themselves. That's how much they don't like themselves. That's their language about themselves, and you're
Mm.
just witnessing it. It's not. It's their show. It's not about you.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. It's okay. There's the shame and the self hatred, which procrastination breeds.
Yes.
Right.
How'd you know that?
I've heard. I've never been there myself, but I've heard I've heard people talk about these things. I personally cannot relate. Wait, when you sit in it long enough, it's an unwillingness to make a decision sometimes, right? Sometimes a decision putting off is sometimes wisdom. Like maybe you're putting it off because not because because you're deflecting a decision. Maybe it's not the thing that's aligned that should be done that's going to be helpful. Maybe you're reluctant to name it.
Mm-hmm.
To name it and part ways with it and make a decision. I'm not doing it. I'm changing course.
Yeah. I'm thinking about going to a fancy Chinese restaurant, and you get the menu and you open it up and it's like 5-6 pages, and you look at near the end of the menu, it's like 154 different recipes to choose from, and you just go and have no idea which one to choose because they all look good.
And then
It's this decision overload. Eventually, you just got to, I don't know, you could pop a coin in there and see which one it lands on.
that's it.
Analysis paralysis.
Analysis paralysis. And
Yeah.
so that shifts in my mind to what's helpful, right? And what you just named something with the Chinese food menu.
Mhm.
So many choices to choose from. Which one do I choose?
Mhm.
You see the waiter coming over, and you know that the other people that are in your party are hungry, and you need to make a decision. And so that's a wonderful way out of it, like a time constraint. If you only had 30 minutes to do it, what would you do? If you
30
only
minutes.
had
Good
5
God.
minutes, what would you do? Well, that's a bad example with a menu. If you have 30 seconds, what would you choose?
Well, by
Menu.
30 minutes going by, you'll have enough alcoholic drinks in you. Your
That's right.
inhibitions will be lowered enough to just pick something.
Like by 30
You won't
minutes,
care.
by 30
And you
minutes, your
might order
family
5.
has walked out. You're like, they moved on. They went home. Everybody went home. Yeah, but that's, it's work to-dos will fill the container that you give them. So if you give a certain task set 2 days, it will probably take you 2 days.
Mhm.
If you then shorten that and say, no, this container is 3 hours long.
Mhm.
Whatever happens, happens. And then at that point, it's pencils down and you're moving on. And that's that. And if it's an agreement that you make with yourself or with other parties, chances are it will help. That urgency will help serve as horse blinders to focus you in on, oh, that other stuff didn't matter. I'm just going to grab the most valuable pieces and get them done. Leave the rest behind.
Mhm.
That's one of my ways out, for sure. What about
I
yours?
feel like when it gets super heavy, like with the guilt and shame stuff, or just realizing I'm in a spot that feels unsettling, I think it's curiosity for me. Like if I'm instead of wondering or like being concerned about what they're thinking of me, what if I'm just curious about it? I don't know. But I used to care what everyone thought about me. And the older I get and the more work I do, the less I give two shits. I just don't care. I just don't care because I'm good with how I'm showing up. And I think I didn't used to be, and I didn't used to like myself. And so it's a different game, right? There's a different format. There's a different playing field now. And I like curiosity. It lightens the mood. Because there's not a right answer. I don't have an attachment to where it lands.
So how might you use curiosity as a tool to tackle what feels like procrastination?
So curiosity and inquisition, right? So like if I have a list in front of me and I get curious about like, okay, well, I'm ticking off all these. If I see myself ticking off all the easy stuff at the bottom of my list that is not in order of priority, or that is, and I don't need it, I can get curious about like, I wonder, why am I doing that? Which leads me back to the original point of like, what's really here for me? Why am I avoiding this thing? What's what is this really about? But what is this really about is different than, gosh, why can't I ever do anything right? Why can't I ever get to the stuff? Why do I always procrastinate everything? Why am I in Productination all the time? That is a very different like energy and leads me right into my old pattern of guilt and shame versus like, I wonder why I'm doing this. What's here? Like, what's really here? And maybe
Mm-hmm.
it's just I need a pause because I'm exhausted and I just need to do something easy for a hot second. I might land there and then, but there's grace in that. And it's such a different thing. So I like to think about inquiry and curiosity and also being willing to be honest with myself, like calling myself on that bullshit, but in a way that's loving and kind, not guilty shamey.
I'm thinking of, as you're describing this compassion and grace, I'm picturing, the grown current version of ourselves sitting down next to our pick an age 8-year-old version of ourselves and leaning in, and the way that we would speak to an 8-year-old. What's up? What's this? And the 8-year-old says, I don't wanna.
Yeah.
I hate it. I know I signed up and I don't want to, and I never did. And they're making me.
Yep. I know for me, it's choosing between good and great. Like I have a lot of really, really good ideas and only a few of them that are great. And what I mean by great is they really, truly align with the future that I want to create for myself. And the most helpful thing that I can do to sort all this stuff out is have a conversation with a coach. Hands down, that's been the most helpful thing for me because I've got ideas coming out of my ears.
I love that you name that. The shiny object syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
right? So many great ideas constantly, right? And that's part of the work. It's unlocking the creativity, but once it's unlocked, it's harnessing it because you've got, it's like pouring out. And they're all good, like you said. A bad idea pretty quickly. But if they're good, where do you pick out the gems? And if it's a gem, what if it's not an aligned gem?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's what I was
What,
about to say. There's a lot of gems that just aren't your gems.
right? Or not your gems today.
Mm-hmm.
So then, yeah, that's where it comes back to speaking to someone who will help you decipher and get honest and talk to all of your parts, all of your inner voices, and you get a team meeting, right? A board
Mm-hmm.
meeting together. Like let's have an all hands and figure this out.
Yeah,
And
that's the
don't
whole
forget,
picture.
yeah, don't forget to bring your perineum into this conversation too.
Say more, Lee, please.
Oh, we've talked about this before. It's just that idea that I got from that book, Radical Wholeness. Of it talks about head knowledge, body knowledge, and how we're trained so much to be in our head all the time, and we can actually be much more in tune with what's going around us and inside of us whenever we start to move into paying attention to what our body has to say. How many
Sure.
neurons there are in your gut and how many neurons there are in your heart and how important they are to be in tune with. But he mentions a
Sure.
bunch of times about the pelvic
Mm,
bowl and being in touch with the pelvic bowl. So I can't let it
yeah.
go. That's just,
Yeah.
we talk about our littles. That's my middle school self. Just cannot let that perineum power
She
go.
said, but. Oh, yeah. You said, but. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's right. Integrating all of yourself into every day. Just feeling all of yourself the way we're used to recognizing when we're thinking thoughts, actually recognizing that we're feeling feelings in our body, physical sensation. Just that awareness alone is life changing.
Mm.
Yeah.
Any last words on productination or procrastination? Okay. If we were to leave our audience with one thought around this, what might it be?
Ooh, just one. That's hard.
I know.
Sometimes procrastination is a red light, and sometimes it's a yellow light. So pause and take a look and understand the difference.
That leads into what I was going to say. Look for clues. It's telling you something. It's there for a reason. Get curious about what it's really telling you.
Oh. I marvel at, the studies that I do and how closely linked procrastination is to addiction. Addiction and procrastination both are avoidance mechanisms. And those avoidance mechanisms are just deep down built-in defenses that are trying to protect us from something. And if we get really curious about what we're trying to protect ourselves from, it allows that to relax. Instead of trying to white knuckle it and barrel through and just do it, it's like, oh, I don't want to live that way anymore. Because that's how I used to live. Let's white knuckle it through everything. Let's power through it all the time. And that's fucking exhausting. And knowing what I know now and being in tune with what's going on inside of me, it's allowed that to relax. And you just walk right on by it instead of having a football player muscle through it. So, emotional education, y'all. Ugh. All right, then.
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye. Thank you for listening to That's a Great Point with Alina Doran, Michelle Albers, and Lee Smart. To find out more about how we can serve you, check out our links in the show description. Thanks for playing along.